Yo. How is everybody? It's your boy Zook. Excited for another episode of Pickle Juice. Might have missed an episode here or there over the past 2 weeks. I had life come up and smack me in the face. Got married, had to go on my honeymoon, so I had to deal with some of the non-essential stuff. Happy to be back for pickleball. My boy, formerly known as Norway Johnny, now Albanian Johnny, hopping on. He'll be signing on soon. We're going to do some MLB draft recap. We're going to be looking at the Challenger League. We're going to be looking at the Premier League. Johnny's just texting me right now. Let me make sure he has the link. Yeah, this should be the one. All right, yeah, he'll hop on. Yeah, we're just going to basically go through the teams, see who was drafted. So look at the Premier League, look at those 48 teams, look at the Challenger League, look at those 48 teams, maybe peer into some of the new owners as well and see what's going on up on my other screen. We're ready to rock with these teams. And like I said, we're just going to kind of go through them. As you know, last Thursday was the reveal for the Premier League. That's 12 teams, 4 players on each. So the top 48 top 48 players, basically. We'll start with ATX. We got the Kawamoto twins. We got J.W. Johnson, and we got Gabriel Tardio. Look, this team, you obviously got both Kawamotos. So when we had them on, we had the chance to talk to them. And the one thing that I'll say is no matter who they're playing, what the rating is of the people that they're playing, there's very few people that could have a connection on the court similarly to the type of connection that the Kawamoto twins have. I mean, come on, they literally know what each other are doing. J.W. Johnson is interesting. A lot of people were asking what his situation was leading up to this draft. A lot of people think about him. They think about the APP, so they weren't exactly sure what was going to happen here, but he gets chosen here. And Gabriel Tardio, a personal preference guy for a lot of people. I've heard mixed things. I really like him. I think he's up and coming at the age of 17. So you really have the two twins with two young guys and a 20-year-old and 17-year-old. The one thing we know about the sport is age doesn't matter. Experience is different. Experience is weird. Some young people have played for a few years. Some older people just started playing. Doesn't really matter. Gabriel shows up in tournaments. So we'll go through it. Look, am I going to sit here and say that this is one of my top teams? No. But as we'll see with the theme of this Premier League, every team is pretty solid. Albania Johnny, how are you doing?
Dude, my geography is only going to define me here. No, it's good, man. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I love I'm good man. It's always the I'm good man from Johnny, from Norway Johnny. As I said before you came on, formerly known as Norway Johnny, now Albania Johnny. But look, this episode's pretty easy. I said it before you popped on. We're just going to go through the rosters of the teams. I have both links up. I have the Premier League. I have the Challenger League. The first team was ATX. I talked about them for about 2 minutes. I don't know if there's anything specifically that sticks out to you about this team. What I commented on, just so you know, as I said, obviously me and you have talked to the Kawamoto twins. The one thing we know is no matter what the duper rating is of their opponents, rarely will anyone have the connection on the court that they have. Me and you actually got a question about J.W. Johnson, right? What's going to happen with him? When people think about him, they think about APP. Here he is. And Gabriel, one of the really, really young people to make the Premier League. I said I didn't think this team was going to be maybe one of the top ones, but when you base it just on skill, if this team was to play their A-plus game one day, it would be hard for someone else to beat them, even if they were playing their A-plus game. A very skilled game, a very skilled team. Would be interesting to see who steps up as the alpha. Will it be one of the twins? Will it be JW? But yeah, what are your thoughts on this team?
So for anyone that's ever like played FIFA Ultimate Team, I'm sure they have this in like Madden Ultimate Team as well. When you get like the team chemistry like maxed out, then the sum is better than the parts. Yep. Like that's what this team is. This is the all chemistry team. J-Dub and Gabriel Tardio play a lot together. I know Gabe plays with Georgia too a lot. Obviously the Kawamotos, they're just like the Swiss Army knife women on tour. And you even get a lefty, for what you're paying for. So like they've got a little bit of everything, man. J-Dub has that next level ability too to be, as good as any top player in the game. So I don't count this team out. They were on my honorable mentions list when I sent that to you, I believe. And if
Yeah,
they
they
weren't,
were.
shame on me, but they were on my honorable mentions list when we did a Mount Rushmore this week. And you're right. Any given day, they can make a run. So I think this is sweet. It'll really be interesting to see how Gabe Tardio plays, but certainly some upside with him. But maybe could be a little too cute, right? There was some guys on the board I think that you could pick that you're getting a little bit a safer bet with, but it was a bold move. I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see on my screen if I can find that tweet that it might have been Maddie Pickles or someone else posted with the actual order. I'll see if I can get
Shout
to the.
out to Matty Pickles,
Yo, he's been
die
doing
hard,
work.
die hard, putting
I
in
tried
the
to have him
work.
come on tonight. He said he was busy, but no, looking
He's
forward to the
pickling,
next stream, the
man.
next Twitter
This dude,
Spaces. Yeah, I
he
know.
he plays more pickle than the pros do. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know. He's intense. He's intense. The next team, a little bit of a different Cabo Vamos. It's not only the language that's different, but the average age. The youngest player on this team is older than both Kawamoto twins, who are both the oldest players on ATX. We got Simone, we got Elise, we got Eric, and we got Jay. Obviously, Jay coming off the great. I'm not the great, a disappointing World Cup Finals loss. I know you were tweeting at him a little bit and chopping up a little about that. Look, I'll always have a sweet spot for Elise. I don't even know if you know this, but the few episodes before you were the co-host, Elise was the very first pro ever on anything pickle juice. So for her to be
I'm
willing
aware.
to get back to me and reach out, that was awesome because she was the first person I hit up and she legit got back to me. So that kind of was like, okay, this could
Dude,
potentially work.
and,
We could do this.
And don't quiz me too much on my Elise Jones knowledge, but I believe she was like a high school teacher about a year ago, right? So like here she
Yeah,
is, like chopping it
yeah.
up.
Yeah, and she usually plays with
her.
Megan. So it'll
Yep.
be interesting to see her potentially play with some other people. But as we know, a lot of these people are playing with a bunch of different people. So a lot of times these people have crossed paths. But look, a lot of pickleball experience on this team. A lot of pickleball wins on this team's resume. What say you about this team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who drafted for this team. I know very little about like the ownership. I've seen like the owner, but I don't know who's really calling the shots in the draft. I don't think it's a bad team. Obviously, each of these players on their own is great. This would be a little bit opposite in my mind when we talk about an all chemistry team like ATX. I think it's a little bit different. I do think Eric Lang is better than his Duper rating suggests.
Yep.
So I give him that much. Like people can take a crap on that all day, but I think he's better. And he was a surprise entrant. I don't think you saw this. He hopped on
Yeah, I
the
saw
Twitter
that for like
Spaces
a
last night.
second. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
3 seconds, and he's probably like, "What have I gotten myself into?" It's probably the worst part of the call. And before Anna Bright and others hopped on, but it was pretty hilarious. Anyway, all that to say, I've always been a big fan of Jay. I think he's just Mr. Consistent. Like, right? Like
Yeah.
he's always going to be in your quarter to semifinals at worst. Like he's there all the time. Simone is a legend, living legend. But I don't know how all these parts will work together. I'm definitely just I think it's a little bit suspect. So we will see.
Yeah, definitely on that. The one thing we can say is there probably will never be a score match situation that the combination of these four haven't seen when you talk about the experience that they have in bigger matches.
I just
Then
don't know.
the
Like, is
defending
Simone?
champs.
I was just gonna say
No, go
real
ahead.
quick. Is Simone playing right or left in that? Right? Like I don't know. Like on the women's
Yeah,
dubs,
yeah.
I would think both
That's a
those
good
players
point.
are kind of similar. I know Elise can like run around like crazy, throw her body, caution to the wind, but so maybe she's playing left, maybe Simone's playing right.
And now to the defending champ. And as we all know, it's weird with these redrafts is new players. So people having defend the title that maybe had nothing to do with them getting the title in the first place. But BLQK Bears now from California, now with a dope logo, have Andrea Coop. As we know, there's a big Coopy Nation out there. Maggie Brasha, maybe the lesser known of the two Brasha sisters, but not for anything to do with skill level. Just a skilled, very, very good pickleball player. Dylan Frazier, I'm pretty sure a kid from St. Louis, right? A kid from Missouri that a lot of people love, 20 years old, up and coming. And Federico Stackstrud, someone who hasn't really gotten, I think, as much credit. I know someone else put this on Twitter for some of the performances that he had. Even I read something about him, the team, like him changing teams in MLP seemed to have such a big difference on his last team and what they were doing. So someone that really teammates have seemed to like. That's been a comment about Federico, that people like playing with him. We keep commenting on how important that is for something like this. But Andrea, Maggie, Dylan, and Federico, another just really solid team, right?
I do think Andrew Coop's fantastic. You go back earlier in the year, it was funny because Adam Stone had ranked her what seemed like shockingly high on his top 25 female list. This was, I think, towards the end of the summer. She just comes out on fire. She, like the few tournaments she ended up doing, and she's a full-time attorney, I believe. So like to find time to play pickleball is kind of wild. But
I got the order.
she's so
Let's
dang
go.
good.
I got the
She's so
order.
dang good. Yeah.
So the order of this team for BLQK, Koopy was the 10th pick. Then
Yep,
it was a snake. So on the second round, with the third pick of the second round, they took Dylan Frazier. Then
which
Federico.
is good. Dylan dropped because I had him in my mock draft first round. Actually, that's what I'm pulling up now.
Yeah, he went 15. So it went Andrea, Dylan, Federico, Maggie. So that was the order this one went. That would
I had Dylan.
That would be the order that I would say.
Ninth. I had Dylan going about 9th, and he ended up.
Which is interesting because BLQK had the 10th pick. So they had their first pick was even after you originally mocked him, and they were still able to get him in the second round. But look, if I looked at this team personally, I would say that was probably the order. If you told me it was Dylan in the first round and Coop in the second round, I would say okay also. But Coop, Dylan, Federico, Maggie is the order that I would think that these would go in. And again, a really, really solid team. Just a really solid team.
Yeah, I had Coop going 14th overall pick, real high in the second round. But yeah, no, I think this was a decent team. Yeah. The Federico pick was interesting, though. Just one last comment. I have to make this comment. Yeah. Federico, I had as like a solid third rounder, only because his doubles, like he's still improving. I thought he played so good in the last MLP. I forget. I think he was.
Everyone was commenting that on Twitter that like he changed teams and made such a difference.
I think he was playing with Pickle, but it's also the fact he's been playing with Simone like crazy. He's been playing a lot of mixed ups with her down in Florida. I know he's getting plenty of doubles training in, so he's still so new to the game, relatively speaking. But like, I think Tyler Lung was still on the board at this point. And I think there's a few guys still on the board at this point. I could be wrong. Tyler Lung went.
Tyler Lung was the second to last pick of this whole draft.
Friggin' nuts! Like what? Who did he piss off? That's what I want to know.
Has everything going for him in this type of draft, right? Lefty, long, everything you look for when you're like building a team like this. And I'm with you.
Then it's one of those things. Have you ever played fantasy football and like there's one guy that's just crushing it in the draft, and someone lets like a fantastic player drop to them like late rounds, and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
we just gave him the keys to the kingdom, and now he gets to partner up with Ben Johns. Like,
that team is that team's incredible. Shout out to
Etta Wright.
Etta Wright's also on that team, and she's our guest on Thursday. But we will get there because that may be, in fact, the best team in the entire thing. You had them as your number one team. So looking at it now,
bearing the lead.
Okay, so here's a really interesting team: Jesse, Travis, Georgia, and Colin. The first thing that I want to say, and this isn't my take, someone else said this. Very interesting that Travis went in the third round, right? People think that was a waste of a pick because he's also an owner of the Florida Smash. So people think that no one else was going to draft him. He was always going to play for the Florida Smash. Should he have let himself go to the fourth round and take himself there? Or do you think this was an ego thing for Travis, that he may have been a fourth round pick, but he wanted to take himself in the third round so he could say that that's where he belonged?
So I have my take on this. And so specifically, he was asked the question if he could be drafted by other teams. because that's like everyone else is like, there's no way he can be drafted by another team. He owns a team. He owns this team. He specifically said yes, he would have been eligible to be drafted by any other team. So he
Wow.
had to take himself there because he said if he did get drafted,
Imagine.
he would play his ass off for whoever the team was. Makes no sense to me. I don't know how that's even possible. Like, doesn't make any sense. But that's what he says. I have to go off his word. Could be totally trolling. I believe him. I mean, third round is interesting, but like, here's what he did. He's earned that third round pick. He's been playing like crazy. You've seen some of the results he's had in some of the APPs and whatnot, both in mixed, and he's been playing pretty well on the men's double side too. So he has built a really fascinating team around him. I think this is a sleeper team. I don't think I put them in my honorable mentions, but if he plays to his max potential, and he has been on an increase, he has been drastically improving throughout this year. He's got two of like the top females in the game, both from a mixed and a women's dubs perspective. So he's got a solid women's team, like real solid. And he's potentially got the best right side specialist in the game. Although Colin actually played some really good left side in the PPA this weekend. So like you could mix and match. I mean, he's got someone that he can actually like pick their brain on. I think that Colin being drafted, like people can talk whatever they want to talk about Colin, but like he's still one of the best right side specialists in the game. He's still really smart. Like the dude like just knows the game so well strategically. So here you are, you get like that off the court, like extra, like something, the intangible. I just think it's a really fascinating team. Like they're not going to be an easy out. It's not an easy out. It's not. I love this
team because they followed the exact method. Obviously, when your pick is up, there's people on the board that could change whatever philosophy you have. My philosophy, women and specialists. So they literally did that. They took Jessie and Georgia first in the first 2 rounds. So they got their women off the board. Travis took himself in the 3rd round. And then they got Colin Johns, who, like you said, one of the best on the right side in the 4th round. It's really like crazy to me that he was
made a trade. Did they make a trade? Was this there was a team there was 2 teams that made a trade for picks? I think it was the Pioneers.
It doesn't show that here. It doesn't show trades here.
Okay.
It just shows. So it shows that Jessie was the 1st round pick for them. Then Georgia was the 2nd. Travis was the 3rd. Colin was the 4th. Again, this is going to be maybe a team that people might look at it right away and be like, it's good, maybe not great. But if you look at the pieces on this team for building an MLP and how the game is actually designed, their women are killers. And they have one of the best players, if not the best, on the right side, who's big in big matches.
One of the best trash talkers and one of the worst trash talkers in the game, at least according to Adam Stone's take recently. So I think it balances out.
Yeah, no, that's good. The Florida Smash, definitely a team that can make some noise.
If they just legalize pickleball betting, like that's a pick that's worth probably the payout. I'm just throwing that out there.
Whatever that like juice would
be. Whatever that spread would be, it would be like the woo. Yeah, it would be I'd be all over that. Anyway.
Another interesting team that I'm interested to pick your brain on. So we got the San Francisco Clean Cause. We got Yana Grechkina, Lena Patagime, Zane Navratil, and Matthew Wright. Obviously, not a lot of names that we recognize. I'm just going to say out front that Yana is probably the one that I'm least knowledgeable about out of the 4 of them. Zane and Lena, I've gotten the chance to watch the most. Matt, obviously, when you get into pickleball, you kind of learn and hear all about him. Just an OG of the game. When you look at this as an MLP team constructed, what say, Johnny?
So Yana Newell's good. Obviously, she's solid. She plays plenty of PPA events. Lena's pretty good too. I mean, you saw her obviously in MLP. I think she's just hyper consistent. Obviously in that like 4th round, sort of like I think I had Lena in the where did I have her? Might have had her. I had both her and Yana in the 4th round.
And they both went back to back. Just so you know, this team had the swing pick, so they had the 12th pick. So with the last pick of the 3rd and the first pick of the 4th, they took both females.
So I had them more like mid 4th round, but they're good. they're hyper consistent. Both of them are. This Zani Navratil guy, no, Zayn Navratil, I just he's a killer, dude. And it's funny because it's a champion mindset. He has won enough MLPs that I just think he knows what to do in those situations. So I think it's going to be an interesting pairing with Matt Wright. Again, I think people are a little low on the Matt Wright pick there.
Yeah.
To get a couple players that people said Zayn hypothetically jumped. I did have Zayn like high second round or maybe mid second round. I did post it, so I don't want to hurt myself there. But no, Matt, I mean, and I had Matt Wright as the last pick in the first round. So I think it's going to be an interesting pairing, and definitely you're going to see Zayn on the left a bit, Matt on the right. Yeah. Matt's still got the hand speed to bang with the best of them. So it's I don't think it's a poor team. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Yana and Lina really match up against those women who are going to be cross court. Because you look at Florida Smash, that's just like a strength throughout. And I know those guys can play hard against these two. Are Zayn and Matt going to be enough to like really carry this team on both the mixed and the men's side? I don't know. It's going to be hard.
100%. An interesting point to bring out is that, again, because this was the last pick of the first round, they got the swing pick. They didn't get to pick for another 23 picks until they went back to back. So it's kind of makes sense that maybe some mocks didn't have this one going where it's at. Because when you get these picks, they might have just identified some guys that they said, these are our guys. What pick? Wait so much longer.
What pick did they have again? First round?
They had 12. So they had 12, and then back to back, they had the first pick of the second round. Then they had to wait 24 picks until they went back to back.
Was Lucy still on the board?
Lucy was the pick after these two.
I had Matt going pick 12, Lucy going pick 13 in my mind.
I mean, the problem with me is
it's right there.
I could not have gone male at this pick. Milwaukee Mashers, and we'll get to them. This is Doug Ullman, I'm pretty sure, is the owner over there. Oh no, it might be Lazary, because doesn't he own the Milwaukee Bucks? Maybe they both own it together. No, but Zayn and I could not have gone male at this pick. I'm not going to say anything about the people. Yeah, go Zayn Lucy.
I don't know if I would go Zayn Lucy. I'm just thinking you got to have a little bit of chemistry, but man, Lucy is still going to.
What about Zayn Georgia?
I don't have a problem with Zayn Georgia there.
Yeah, I kind of like Zayn Georgia.
I had Georgia in the first round. I just think Georgia. Georgia was not getting the love, obviously, in this draft that she should have got.
If I can tell you right now, looking at the draft board, if the first 11 picks went the way they went, and I was the pick, and I was the owner of Clean Claws making the pick, I would have went Lucy and Georgia, who were the next two females off the board post the Zayn and Matt pick. I would have picked them as my two picks. And then I would have scooped like Colin Johns I probably would have scooped like DJ Young and Tyler Leung in the third and fourth pick because they were there at my picks. So then my team would have been Lucy, Georgia, Tyler Leung, and DJ, which I think would be like a killer team potentially because I would have identified those females early. But again, we're just picking hairs. These people still at those picks could have gone there. I'm just saying because the 12 and 13 is a wraparound. I would not have gone male.
I just don't have a problem with Zayn hopping up because he's like, at least from what the first round, and I'm basing my first round picks off of just like rough estimates. I know NML had their own draft, like previewed mock draft as well, but I do think it just, it's tough. I don't know.
In the Las Vegas Night Owls, I'm pretty sure this is Brady and Kim Kleister's team.
Yes, it is.
Because I saw a video of Vivian.
Pickleball chick is there.
Yeah. Oh, the GM. Yes. Damn. Yeah. Because I want to know who's picking these teams, right? So I wonder if she had like a hand in that because she is the GM and she is.
I think she legit. I think she legit picked the team.
That's what I'm saying.
I sent her a little note. I know she doesn't know me well. I sent her a little note congratulating her on the draft. I think this is a
great team. This is a great team, and you can tell that someone like her that knows the sport, right, would choose a team like this. Another thing that was super cool is I saw a video of Vivian David's idol growing up was Kim Kleister.
Yeah,
so when they called Vivian David's name, she went up to get drafted to get her jersey or whatever, and Kim Kleisters was standing there, and they asked her about it, and that's just super cool. Obviously, We've watched Pickle play a lot. I haven't seen Kyle play that much. As I really started getting more and more into the pro game, I feel like he's been playing less and less in some of the bigger events or even not making it as far. But obviously someone that everybody knows if you're a fan of pickleball, so you can never, doubt him in an event like this. Like you said, a really well-constructed team that someone picked this team doing research, right? That's pretty apparent. And before I toss it over to you, just so people know the order of this team went Vivian David in the first round, Deckel Bar in the second, Lauren Stratman in the third, and Kyle Yates in the fourth. So it went female, male, with Vivian being their ace off the deck. You said it was a really solid team and that you like this team. Is there anything else to add?
Vivian David's probably the best right-sided female specialist. Lauren Stratman can play left.
Which is such a benefit, right? Like you would have to seriously consider taking Vivian at any pick, right? Like really after you take Annalie, obviously that, but like Vivian is like when you have a right side killer like that, you got to consider it.
Here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see if she actually plays with Deckel. They had initially paired together, had a bit of I don't know what it was, but they just parted ways at some point early this year. So I don't know. Like, is she going to pair with Kyle? And if she does, I mean, Kyle Yates still great. Like mixed,
still great, yeah.
Partner, still going to hang with the best of them again.
Experience at events MLP, like this. Yep,
had a great MLP. I think he's been doing his own entrepreneurial type stuff. Hosted some tournaments, so I think that's why he probably played a little less in the fall.
100%.
Just a lot of work in that. But like these four, like again, just like fantastic players. APP results, especially during the APP heyday here the last year or two. So I think they're going to play great. I think it's a really just a great team, and it should line up well. It's just like, is off the court stuff an issue? If it is, that might be an issue for MLP because you got to have a good vibe. I'll try not to say vibe every few sentences like some other podcasters do, but vibe's the word, man.
What a chance for Lauren Stratman right on this team with a lot of well-known names for someone that obviously we know, but maybe the average fan doesn't pay, as close attention to, with an opportunity to be on a team that can go far with some players that people are going to watch. Look, if she's someone that in the redraft went higher than her pick at 33, I'm pretty sure, I would not be surprised if she was a female that she went late third round. She could sneak her way higher in the third round, potentially even into that second round with a high performance in this sort of thing. So great opportunity for Lauren.
I had her late third round, but I wouldn't say she's overlooked just because she's part of that power couple, her and Julian Arnold. Yes. She's played with some of the better men over the last few years too, and had consistent results. I mean, I think when I was really starting to get like crazy into watching end of 2021, she was partnering with Tyson McGuffin. She's kind of played with a wide range. She gets results. I mean, it's a quality team. It's just going to be how are they lining up the parts. So
yeah, I really like that team as well. And that was that was the Las Vegas Night Owls, the LA Mad Drops. I really like this team. Really, really like this team. And for some reason, I feel like this team was on the lot of cusp of people's rankings, but didn't make it actually to, the top whatever of lists that they were doing. This is a fantastic team. Julian Arnold's one of the hottest players in sports. We know Thomas Wilson, what he's been doing in the mixed doubles game has been incredible. CP, regardless of what the topic is, has been in the news, a lot recently, and obviously is one of the top players, and that's why, some of the news has even, came up, right? Because she's of such a high quality player. People have been trying to play with her. And then Irina with that experience and the ability to really round out this team is almost the perfect player to put with the other three. So when I look at quality and kind of how hot some of these players have been in recent tournaments, man, the Mad Drops are one that I'm looking out for next season.
I think a lot of mock drafts were low on CP. I had CP actually.
She went fifth.
Yeah, she went fifth overall, correct?
Yes.
But she was the third woman off the board. It was
Anna
Bright.
Yep. Yep.
and then it was
Yep.
CP.
CP, Irina, Julian Arnold, Thomas Wilson was the order of these four for you.
Yep. CP I had as the 5th overall pick, but I had her as the second female off the board. Just personally, I'll stand by that.
So you had Riley Newman up there. I'm assuming you had Riley up there.
Yeah, I had Riley on the 4th. I'll tell you it's my team too. What that ended up being here as we go forward, but with CP, I just think you get an ultra consistent female player. I mean, she really is at that like if Anna Lee is in her own category. I do think CP, Anna Bright, Jessie Irvine, like that group is like the next group. And Georgia would maybe be just on the outside of that. Her and Simone, maybe Etta. I think people are super high on Etta. I'm super high on Etta. I have to be honest too, though. Obviously, like, it's right. Like what's happening now. Like, it's like what's happening now, and that's what not like the resume. That's what we're kind of all excited about.
Yeah, what have you done for me lately?
Who's the new exciting? Yeah, who's the new exciting player? But for me, I just think you get an ultra consistent, like someone who's typically meddling well with CP. I think that her skill set matches up well with a lot of the guys, a lot of the gals. So her and Irina, that's a really good pairing. Like there's
Great
nothing
pairing.
bad about this team. I do love, I think this team overall is great. Julian is the X factor. If you get Andiamo maximum with Julian, you're going to be in really, really good shape.
I want a guy like that in something like this, though. I want a guy like that in something like this because, and the parity is like all these teams are so good at the end of the day. Give me a guy like if everyone's playing at their A+ potential, his A+ is better than the other guy's A+. And we both think that with Julian. Again, he has that opportunity to not reach that sometimes if if he's not hitting everything and he's letting himself get in his own head and the Andiamo spirit isn't there. But when he's hitting his shots and he's peppering those black lines there, and you bring in that spirit, there really isn't any player more better suited for the MLP style, right? When you're talking about the runs, the atmosphere, the screaming, the yelling, he's a guy that you probably love to have on your team and hate to play against. And something like this, that's extremely valuable.
Thomas Wilson dropped too. I don't really understand why.
Dude, he dropped to the 44.
I had him at pick 29, and he dropped pretty far. So
who's been hotter than him in mixed doubles recently? Like it's absurd. He's been
pretty good, man. I know, and I know in the past he's maybe been criticized of not always being like hyper consistent, but he's pretty dang good, man. So like that team again, you get Max Julian, he gets hyped from the crowd. This is a team that's going to be like competing for medals. They're going to be competing for cash.
Like Thomas is someone who I'm interested to see like what Julian Arnold can bring out of him in an event like this, right? Like a lot of times more like just when you're talking about emotions, more conservative when it comes to that. But if the guy next to you is screaming and smiling and ranting and raving, maybe it brings another side out of some of these people that we haven't seen before. And
Irina really should like they might need to rename like the MLP trophy after her. I know it's the Pritchard Cup, so it's like the founder of pickleball. But
never loses.
She's pretty solid at getting some payouts from MLP. She went pick 20. I did have her a little lower. I had her at pick 32, so I had her a little bit lower, and maybe that's too low. Shame on me, because she is like hyper consistent. You can play that left side on the women's side. You definitely know what you get with her. So.
She's someone who I think power rankings would be lower, like you had her, then maybe she ends up in the actual draft because of those intangibles that she brings. And if you're just rating the player, maybe she's lower. But if it's, hey, for an MLP draft, we know what she's done in this very type of format, I got to take her a little earlier. So that's where I think that one is a great team. This is a team I really like because they follow the Zook method of female, male. They went
is that the Zook method?
Yeah, I would go 2 females, and they went Callie, Joe, and Lucy, and then they finished up with Andre, who obviously we love, and DJ. So this is a powerful team, right?
Andre is a friend of the Pickle Juice Pod, correct?
Very good friend of the Pickle Juice Pod. I'm actually going to Florida, right in his neck of the woods, and I'm going to hit him up to see if he wants to play in January if he's not too busy. But the power on this team is incredible, right?
Yeah, and DJ can and should slot in on the right with Andre.
Well,
I think
yep.
DJ has recently made comments. I don't want to make this up. I might have been dreaming, but I think he made comments that he's really training on the right side for the men's game, which is awesome. Like, I think
You
what
gotta.
you'll see
People are gonna
then
do it,
is
Johnny.
if
People are
you're
gonna
gonna
do it. If
start,
you're not top tier, right? You
yeah,
gotta figure out a way to get on the court.
and then you got again and I think people have seen a lot of Callie and Lucy together on the court. I had Callie at pick 16 in the second round. I had Lucy at pick 13 in the second round. I mean, you could have picked her at the end of the first round.
You said 13, 16, and they went 11, 14, so pretty similar.
Yeah, and I think most people would have expected something like that. It's Andre, I think, that went third round here, and again, I think he dropped.
Second to last pick of the third too, so he went 35.
I had him at pick 20, and so I mean, that's the thing is that like with Andre and DJ, I think this is a really, really quality team.
Yes.
If you are, so I know Jackie and Jade have beaten Callie and Lucy, and that was a big deal, and they did that once.
Yeah, they told us about that. Remember that?
Yeah, we had a whole talk with them about that. Like, that's huge. And I think I asked them on that, like, what was it? Was it a mental edge afterwards? And they did. They felt like, after that, they're like, wow, we can beat anyone now. So, like, but there aren't going to be too many female pairings that'll feel that way, right? Like, I definitely think Jessie and Georgia should feel confident.
That's why I'm saying the Zook method, dude. The Zook method, female. If you get a solid female, like 2 females, the fact that like you then could have the advantage in women's doubles plus the advantage in both mixed with the dominant female. Like, it's so beneficial to go female in my mind.
I'm gonna give you a couple of quick fires. Tell me yay or nay if you think this women's pairing can beat Callie and Lucy when it matters on an MLP day. Lina and Yana. Clean cause.
Yeah, like, yeah, but like I say, I still think Callie and Lucy have like a severe advantage, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you think yay, they can beat them?
I mean, the thing is, like, for me, like, I'm gonna say no because I was saying yeah, more of a yeah. Anyone can beat anyone.
Don't let me talk you out of it.
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
Koopy Nation and Maggie Brasha, and this is Maggie, not Mary.
No.
Okay. Let's go. Viv David and Lauren Stratman.
Yes.
I think they could.
Yes. If Vivian could play really well in that game, and I think Lauren can hold her own.
Yeah, I think they could. I still give the edge to Callie and Lucy. Jessie and Georgia.
Yes.
That would be fun to watch.
I love Jessie.
Simone and Alice Jones.
No, they're just not gonna.
And then
they're just not gonna, but it makes sense, right? Like, I don't want to come up like, and this is something that we got to learn because we're gonna keep giving more takes. Like, I don't want to talk badly about anyone, but like, look, in an example like that, when you say Simone and Elise, right? Like,
yeah.
I feel comfortable saying no so vibrantly because we're also comparing like a first and second round pick versus like a second and third, right? So there really is no slight in saying that Callie and Lucy are better because the comparison isn't apples to apples. So yeah, definitely no on that one.
And we're also talking about a traditionally coupled like pair.
Yes, 100%
together.
That we've seen win big matches. Like, we've seen them win big matches.
Of these pairs, a lot of these pairs that are makeshift, right? Lindsay Newman and Mary Brasha.
What's your opinion of Mary Brasha? Because I'm never going to be unbiased. I mean, I'm never going to be unbiased with her. Like, someone like her and someone like Megan Fudge, I'm always going to tell you that they're going to win. So, like, what's like the real opinion about Mary?
Megan Fudge should have been in the Premier.
Of course, and we'll get to that. Yeah. I'm thinking, Johnny, this episode we're probably just going to wrap up with the Premier, and then we'll get to the Challenger next week.
There's so much to talk about Challenger.
There's just so much, so we're not going to rush, and we have 20 more minutes with like 4 more teams, so we'll finish out this one with the Challenge. With the Premier, and then next week, either on the Twitter Spaces or the Tuesday night stream, we'll do specifically the Challenger because I know so many people have so much to talk about with the Challenger, whether it's the players or some of the ownership groups. Like, we'll do a whole episode for that. So 20 more minutes to finish this off. But yeah, what's the opinion on Mary?
I think what we do, Zook, too, I think I'm gonna host a bonus Twitter Spaces tonight, right after this call, so we can get people chatting about Challenger
Okay.
because there's a
Yeah.
lot. There's
I'll
a
hop
lot of
on
heat.
that. I'll hop on
There's a
that.
lot of heat. All
Yeah,
right,
let's
so
do that.
so Lindsay and Mary, if you get retro Lindsay at like her prime too, like because and I say retro like it's a little tongue in cheek, is it's only been about a year removed from when she was really consistently competing. I do think Hard Eights have a, and we'll talk about them in a second. I think that's a really good pair. I just don't know if Lindsay's going to be up to where these two ladies are right out of the gates. She can and should be. She's pretty good. Mary is solid. Obviously, she had that merry-go-round shot in the last
I just love
MLP.
Mary.
That's like the shot of the tournament and probably the shot of the year. That if that's not an award, we need to give that award out at the end of this year.
The Dinkies.
Yeah,
Yeah, because when she goes
trademark
43, that's what makes me think like my opinion is so much more higher of her than like
She went
others.
43.
Yeah, she was the
I
fourth.
had Mary at 38. I had Maggie at 45.
Yeah, this
So,
one went Riley, Lindsay, Age. Oh, sorry, we're not even on that team, so we'll get back to that team. But any closing remarks on remarks on Milwaukee? The one thing I want to say is just Andre's so solid in this format. Like Andre with these two women is so good.
I think CP and Irina could maybe challenge these women, but I still give the edge to Callie and Lucy. So, hey, this is a really good team, and I think they got some freaking depth on the men's side late that they needed, and it was good. It paid off.
So the New Jersey Fives getting the fun pick. So obviously they're going to go Anna Lee, Miss Waters, then Leah Jansen, James Iggy, and Hayden. Hayden was Mr. Irrelevant. I don't say that as a derogatory term I came up with. It's just a known thing that the last person in a pro draft that you get drafted last, they call you Mr. Irrelevant. And look, Mr. Irrelevant this year in the NFL is Brock Purdy, and he is on his way to potentially leading the 49ers to the Super Bowl. So there's no slight in being drafted anywhere. Trust me, it's an accomplishment. But one I want to ask you.
Unless it's the last pick of the Challenger, there's no player irrelevant in the Premier. That's all I got to say.
True. That's true. So Anna Lee gets picked first, followed by James, followed by Leia, followed by Hayden. What do you think about this team? Honestly, ALW is gonna take most of the spotlight, right?
So I thought ALW. So Anna Lee,
first pick, right? Like they ran to the podium when they got first pick.
Clear first pick, and not only is it the clear first pick, but she's the most marketable player. And so this is what I was asking Anna Bright. So I know we're on Twitter Spaces, Zook. You had to hop. Anna Bright hops on. It was like, all right, great conversation. Then dang, we got Anna Bright on. And my question to her was how much of these picks, because I was actually asking her on her team, how much of the picking was based on marketability. And it seems like the sense in a lot of these MLP teams isn't necessarily all like, hey, we watch pickleball. Here are the best players, or here's the duper reasoning behind it. Maybe they use duper a little bit too much in some of these senses, but many of them it was, hey, who's marketable, and like who's the most marketable. And I don't think that's why Anna Lee was picked. I do think that could be a reason why.
Both. Yeah,
that's why Hayden might have been picked. I dig Hayden. I actually had Hayden as I had him just out of the draft on the Premier side. I thought he would have been an early pick in the Challenger draft. I could have easily seen Rob Nunnery go ahead. Shout out to Rob, friend of the Twitter Spaces.
Yes,
at least maybe not so much friend of the pub, but friend of the Twitter Spaces. And then I definitely had Kyle Yates ahead of him. That's the thing. I just think that Hayden, it'll be interesting because these games now matter. Like it does not doesn't matter if you're playing Premier or Challenger. The games all matter. The points matter because at the end of 2023, you could end up in that Challenger League, which is that second tier, which is more of a crapshoot. You don't necessarily have a full-fledged selection of women there that you're like, hey, I feel confident from like each round in the pick in the drafts, like about who I'm going to pick. So that's where if you're getting a little cute now, it might burn you. I think they got a little cute here picking Hayden, and take nothing away. I think Hayden's a future like
Yeah.
potential number one player in the game because he's swaggy Patrick Quinn. He is like legit not afraid of playing anyone. Respect that. He'd probably stomp me. Singles, doubles doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, no, I know he would. It's not even probable. But the women pairing here is as good as you can get. Having Annalie and Leia, I think Leia's probably like, oh, finally, I don't have to play against her. Like
Yeah.
Annalie has just been on such a tear. So fantastic women's pairing. I think James prefers Jimmy over Iggy. I don't think he likes Iggy, so I'll call him Jimmy. But I think Jimmy, James, Ignatowicz here also has a real chance to shine. Is he a solid left lead in a men's doubles match yet? I don't know. He's still a little bit newer too. And I think he's been critical of himself. He obviously really good in the mix, but he has been getting more men's results lately. So this is an all upside, like high upside team. I think it's a highly marketable team, and it's a hype swag team. Like this could be a sleeper. I wouldn't necessarily put them in the top 3 as a group, but they could surprise people. So let's see, man.
Yeah, they need that next guy, right? The Robin to the Batman that is ALW. And obviously that's what happens when you have the first pick. You got to then wait till the 24th pick to take your second player. So you tend to have that little bit of fall off between your first and your second player. But yeah, the opportunity for Leia, the opportunity for Jimmy, even the opportunity for Hayden to show off, like you said, all eyes will be on this team because of Annalie. So a lot of people will be watching them. They'll have the opportunity to play with the best. They'll never be in a women's doubles match or a mixed doubles match that Annalie plays and be a steep underdog, if underdog at all, because of who she is. So really an opportunity for this team. And I'm pretty sure the New Jersey Fives are Gary V. So, they'll be marketing.
James went pick 24. Who was on the board before him? Does it say?
The board, like who got picked right before him?
Yeah, who are the picks? I know Edda went at 23.
Edda got picked right before him. Jackie went right before. Tyson went right before. Irina went right before. And then right after was Leia, Jansen, Megan, Jackie, Rafa Hewitt, Julian Arnold.
That's what I'm saying. You got Julian.
Would you have taken Julian Arnold there?
As a team, so as a general manager, I would be hard-pressed not to take Julian there. Only because of, I think they're both pretty solid singles, right? Like they're both solid singles players. Julian is a little bit more of a roller coaster, but like you said, I also am I have that belief that hey, when the spotlight's on, that player's good. But I think that's a 50-50 call because James Ignatowicz had a great MLP too. And if you remember that, that Dream Breaker against Eric Lang, and I think Eric was on the bus, right? Maybe.
Eric was on the bus. Eric was on the bus.
It was filthy. Hit some filthy passing shot through the paddle, tongue out. Again, we don't know how high James can go, right? So
I agree.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Maybe not on my draft. He's maybe not ahead on my draft board, but I'm not okay. I'm not gonna debate them on that.
So now we got the New York Hustlers, which are my team, because I'm from New York, so I'm claiming fandom to this team for now. Friend of the Twitter Spaces, Anna Bright, obviously there, Tyson McGuffin as well, Rafa Hewitt, and Lacey Schneeman. This is a fantastic team.
Do you think Anna Bright? Can we just off topic for a second? You said we weren't going to rush. We're not getting into Challenger. What is Anna Bright's real thoughts about the two of us? Because at this point, she at least knows who we are. We banter.
Yeah, I mean, when she DM'd me on Instagram, when she answered my DM, she said that she doesn't know if she quite understands us, but she thinks that we're funny. Here's my number, and I'll come on the pod. So I mean, I think she's look, we're harmless. I think people understand that at this point. We're just two guys that like to rant and rave about the sport, and we'll have a fun conversation with you. We're not going to hurt you. She definitely thinks we're weirdos.
I think, but wouldn't the public truly understand Anna Bright? Do they get her? That's my question. And she might be the female counterpart to who we are. Maybe. Maybe I'm not as aggressive. Maybe
It's
I'm
fair.
not
What
as
an
aggressive.
opportunity, and what an opportunity on this team too. And she's got to live up to it, right? Like as you said, she was the third female taken, fourth overall pick, being put on a team that can definitely make some noise with Tyson and Rafa, and also not just her. The opportunity for Lacey. I'm not going to sit here and say I know Lacey nearly as well as the other three, and I know that obviously I know Tyson and Anna pretty well. Not know them, but know of them and watch them a lot. I even know Rafa a decent amount because I love watching his style of play. But those are three like really, really good players. If this team's going to be around, so if Lacey plays well, does her job, her reputation can definitely get a boost from being on a team like this and being a good teammate, and potentially down the road having the opportunity to play with some higher caliber players if she fits her role on a team like this. So I'm looking out for the New York Hustlers. I think we both had them on our Mount Rushmore. I think I was higher on them. This is my number one team, so I'm higher on them than most. But yeah, this is a fantastic team.
I think this is going to be a competing team. This is the all hype team. So like even if like this,
they're going to be
team
screaming and running around the court.
So when chatting about Anna, because I did ask her, like, just, hey, Anna, like, tell us about the draft. Obviously, second woman off the board, pick number 4. Huge moment for you. Congrats. Tell us about the team, like how did it come about. And so this is the team owned by LeBron, correct? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's LeBron.
Yes, because the Brooklyn one is owned by KD. So they kind of did the two New York teams are them.
You are correct. You had the New York Hustlers as number 1 on your Mount Rushmore. So you did have them ahead of me. I had them as number 2. So I wasn't far behind you, man.
Yeah.
But I also gave the correct Mount Rushmore out of the two of us. So I think Benny Stats at Real Clear agreed as well. So I'm going to go with that guy because he's a very, very smart man.
Stats overrated. It's all about the size of the heart of the dog.
So anyway, all that to say, so what was fascinating to me was the construction of this team, because apparently Tyson was consulted more on the draft, at least from what it sounds like. And I don't want to put words in Anna's mouth. It sounded like Tyson was consulted more than Anna was, like right out of the gate, or maybe Tyson just.
Well, the thing with this is how can you be? I follow up with that. Like, doesn't Anna have to be consulted on the Tyson? Like, Tyson wasn't picked to the.
Did you listen?
Round.
Did you go back? Did you go back and listen to that?
Not yet. Yeah,
go back. I had to
hop off.
I'm curious afterwards if we chat again next week. I'll listen to this. I'd like to come back to it. It is a really interesting scenario, and I think one that gets a little overlooked, because I would, like, in this situation, like, I mean, Anna's opinion is just as important to me as Tyson's opinion. Tyson's obviously fantastic what he did, but it sounded like he really wanted that male pick at the 3rd round. So going with Rafa, like, that's great. I think Anna would have probably preferred another female there. What are our pick numbers here for these guys? So you got Anna at 4.
Tyson went 21, which is kind of late. Rafa went 28, and Lacey went 45.
45. So
Lacey was the last female taken.
Yeah, which, like, it is interesting. I don't know. Yeah, you got, like, Tyler Loong has played with Anna, so I don't know, like, if, like, there was, like, I don't think there would have been any issue with, like, picking Tyler there for Anna Bray. I did not ask her that specifically.
Well, the only thing is they couldn't have taken Tyler at the 4th once they took Rafa at the 3rd.
No, they
had to
couldn't.
Take that female,
no,
right?
I'm staying ahead of Rafa.
Oh, I agree with you. Like, I think they could have gone. I would have went like Tyler Loong, Mary Brasha, or even like Julian Arnold, Mary. Like, there's different things they could have done, but
Rafa
look, again, you got to go with
28.
You got to go with your stars, right? And then Julian Arnold went 29, so Julian Arnold went right after Rafa. But, like, I guess if you pick people like Anna and Tyson, you want to really see who they want to play with. So if they're saying, or someone like Tyson saying, "Get me Rafa," look, you got to get your guys who they want. I'm a big believer in that, so I honestly don't hate that.
I really just hope.
Method.
I know they're not the bus; that's not their team. But I would love to see them just show up on the party bus to each event, because that's what they should do. I don't know if that's Lacey's style, but that's definitely the style of, like, Tyson, maybe Rafa. So, like, that would be pretty hyped. I would love to see that. But It's a good team. I have them as the second team. And now,
All right, so we got 4 minutes. So I definitely want to hit both of these teams as fast as we can, but definitely hit them because you have this team as your number one. The Seattle Pioneers, Etta Wright, who I love, who will be our guest on Thursday. Ben Johns, fantastic. Tyler Lung, who got drafted way too late. And Elise's partner, who is fantastic. And for some reason, not too many people talk about too much, Megan Sheehan Dazan. So what do you say about this team? Obviously, they're your number one team, but just keep in mind, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. So there were 2 teams that I just about nailed it in terms of the mock draft. J-Dub's team, I had J-Dub, Jackie, and Jade together, and then Kyle Yates. So I didn't end up getting the 4th pick correct there. With Ben Johns, though, I expected if he went second, that Etta would be there with the 2nd round pick. Many people had Etta higher. I had him with Etta. That's a fantastic pairing. I do think Etta and Megan will be interesting to see them playing together. But Ben and Tyler, and then Ben and Etta, like, you're like kidding me. And then I know Tyler knows Megan just from the PPA stuff. So I think that's still a formidable mixed duo. This should be the best team.
Is Colin on the hot seat if Ben gets comfortable playing with Tyler?
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. But I do think you give Ben like an incredible, like, you give him an incredible opportunity playing with a lefty that can Ernie like a psycho. Like, he's so good. like they're both good. And
He's
so
great.
to get him where they got him, incredible value, stole the draft.
Yeah, this is an insane team.
Heisted. Yeah, those top 3 is fantastic. So
this is an insane team. Definitely one that could take it all. I think probably in people's top 3 are Mount Rushmore or top picks to win Seattle. If you just aggregated all of the picks and put them on a graph, Seattle was definitely, I would say, the most picked to win it all because of literally everything you said, and especially that Tyler Loom pick, just an unbelievable value in the last round. But as we wrap up, we come to a minute.
This is my other Mount Rushmore team. You also had them on your Mount Rushmore.
SoCal Hard Eights, yeah. Mary, Riley, AJ, and Lindsay. Take it away, Johnny.
We know why they're 3rd. It's because Riley's going to miss the first event. So I think it's the Pioneers to lose. Louis will see. But, man, when you stick Riley with AJ, this would be the other men's doubles team that I think you're like, dang, I don't want to play against them.
Yeah, and then you get Riley and Lindsay, obviously.
Yeah, maybe, and that's what I'm saying is maybe Ben and Tyler could beat Riley and AJ, but that's a dang good team. Mary is a fantastic player too. So if Lindsay is who she is, and we talked about her a lot already, pairing her with Riley, that's fantastic. This was a master class in a draft. I'm okay with missing out on Riley the first round if I know that I know. And he was at pick 6. Incredible value for him there. Incredible value for AJ at 19. Those guys both fell more than they should have. Again, I will put myself out there. If you need GM, if you need a consultant, give your boy Johnny a call.
Johnny, we're going to talk about this stuff so much for the first season that by season 2, we will be flown out there for the draft, taking care of someone's team. That's the goal for this.
Anheuser-Busch put their job post out, 100 to 120K annual salary.
That. Let's go. All right, so that was the 12 teams for the Premier League. Obviously, we're going to cover the Challenger as well. Check out for Johnny and me to hop on a Twitter Spaces potentially after this. Definitely on Thursday with Etta Wright. Definitely a Twitter Spaces at our normal time next Monday. And then we'll be back here on Tuesday to do another one of these with potentially having the BLQK, one of the owners, come on. We'll see what we can do with that. But yeah.
That's rad.
That's it for us tonight. Tune in for a potential Twitter Spaces after. And then again with Thursday with Etta Wright. But peace out, Johnny. I'll see you in a few minutes. Or I'll hear you in a few minutes.
That you will. See you, Zuki.